plus music from the Mavericks. Your local news is next.
Today's bitter cold wind blowing on the Big Lake is a stark contrast to Monday and Tuesday's unseasonably warm breezes. Good evening, I'm Michelle Lee.
And I'm Mark Mallory. After a day of blustery winds and dropping temperatures, it feels more like November in the Northland tonight.
Now, the past few days of toasty temps are just a memory. Kim Kaiser joins us live from Canal Park, where the waves have been roaring all day.
Quite a difference from when you stood outside yesterday, Kim.
Mark and Michelle, yesterday I was perfectly comfortable outside talking to you in just a light sweater. And tonight I can't put enough layers on. Just goes to show you what a difference 24 hours can make here in the Northland. They say if you don't like the weather, wait a second and it will change. Well, out here by the lake, the blustery winds are just whipping the waves against the shore. And while this icy spray is what we'd expect this time of year, I can't say it's a change for the better. After all, many Northlanders were more than happy to take advantage of the burst of warm weather yesterday. It's hard to believe that folks were actually wiping the sweat off their brows after working in the warm sun. These carpenters took time to winterize some local homes, and I'm sure their owners are very happy about that tonight. But it wasn't all work and no play. Many college students got outside for an intense game of football. But you don't see any shorts or sandals today, especially not on those folks who braved the winds to come outside and watch the waves crash against the shore. And it is definitely an impressive sight, but not a particularly comfortable one to stand out here. But the scary thing is, this is nothing yet. And when I'm out here and below zero, below freezing temperatures, that's when I'll have a chance to complain. But wow, what a reminder that winter is on its way. Brr. Mark and Michelle.
Boy, it is cold out there.
Yeah, you can tell.
Thanks, Kim. 24 years ago tonight, the ore carrier Edmund Fitzgerald went down in a fierce storm on Lake Superior.
The ore carrier and its crew went down as it tried to reach Whitefish Bay. Loaded with iron ore, the Fitz slipped quickly to the lake's bottom. High winds and icy water sealed the fate of the 29 men on board. Tonight, those souls are being remembered across the Northland. At Split Rock Lighthouse, the beacon was lighted. Historians there were also busy fielding questions about the Fitz, its crew, and the lake itself.
We talk about Lake Superior shipwrecks, about the gales of November, the storms, and being a navigational aid, which Split Rock was. Of course, we talk about navigation and the treacherous waters out in front of the lighthouse here.
500 people toured the historical lighthouse tonight. Wind gusts were clocked at 45 miles per hour at Split Rock tonight.
But George says things will mellow out by tomorrow. He's in the weather garden with more. George?
They will indeed mellow out. I got to tell you this, Lee Radzik has always been a great guy, and he calls down with some of his wind gust information. Last year on this date, I believe, if the old memory serves me, that they had a wind gust to 80 miles an hour up at Split Rock. So hey, that 45 is a walk in the park by comparison. Kim's right, though. It does feel like wintertime outside. Take a look at the current temperatures across the region. Now, you have to remember, it's 33 up at the airport, it's 38 downtown. But yesterday our high was 71, and that's why it feels so cold. The fact that it's 33 at this time of night, that's not surprising in November. The fact of the matter is that it's 40 degrees colder than yesterday. And you know what? This isn't the whole story. Look at these wind chills in the Twin Ports right now, 17 degrees, 16 up at Grand Marais. Nothing compared to January, but again, contrasted with those record-breaking highs, it stings a little bit. And just to add some insult to injury, they had some big old lake effect flurries down around Poplar earlier this evening. I'll have more on the forecast in a little while.
All right, thank you, George. Police are investigating the death of a Duluth man found pinned under a vehicle. Authorities were called to 98th Avenue West in Gary, New Duluth tonight, where they found a 38-year-old man. They say it appears he had been working on the vehicle. Police aren't releasing the victim's name, but say his relatives and friends had not heard from him in several days. Investigators are getting valuable information tonight from Egypt Air Flight 990's data recorder.
They say the plane began a controlled descent into the ocean just seconds after the plane's autopilot disconnected. The recorder shows the plane did not experience thrust reverser problems. The flight data recorder, one of the two so-called black boxes, was recovered yesterday off the coast of Massachusetts. They're still searching for the cockpit voice recorder. Kip Kinkle was sentenced today to over 100 years in prison. Kinkle is the Oregon teen who gunned down his parents, then opened fire at his high school in May of 1998. After some of his victims spoke out in court today, the judge said each of them needed to have some accountability from him. Kinkle apologized in court, saying nothing that he could do could make up for what happened.
A former Duluth high school teacher has been charged with having sex with his students. Eric Holton will appear in court next month on charges of criminal sexual conduct. He taught choir at Duluth East High School for 4 years. Several students say they had sex with Holton more than 50 times. Now, he admitted to having sex with 2 of his students, citing poor judgment. A court date has been set for December 1st. Holton now lives in Arizona. A college hockey fight is prompting some policy changes at the University of Wisconsin-Superior.
Police were called to help break up an ugly off-the-ice brawl at Westman Arena Saturday night. Tom Hansen joins us with the latest on the fight fallout.
Well, Mark and Michelle, fighting at college hockey games is not tolerated in any form, and the university doesn't want to experience a repeat of Saturday's fight. On the way to the locker room after the second period, players from UWS and Elmira College started throwing punches. A UWS player is accused of instigating the whole thing. Tempers were hot after a controversial call on the ice. The referee apparently gave a misconduct call on the wrong Elmira player after a UWS player was checked from behind. He had to be hauled off the ice on a stretcher. Today, university officials announced plans to prevent something like this from happening again. For starters, they'd step up security in Westman Arena. They'd close a gate to keep opposing teams and players apart. Players who aren't dressed for games would be required to stay in the stands. Plus, fan access to the locker rooms would be limited. UWS officials say it's important the public know they're not taking this event lightly.
Tom, any sanctions against the players involved in this fight?
Well, Michelle, 5 players from each team are banned from the next game. The Yellow Jacket player accused of starting the fight will not be allowed to play in this weekend series against Stout and River Falls.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. You'll be back with sports a little later on. Heavy winds last July cut a major swath through the Boundary Waters canoe area, and now there is fear a major fire will follow.
The Forest Service is developing a plan to deal with it. As Dave Jench reports, they want your input.
Millions of trees blown down last July from Ely to the Gunflint Trail are drying out, creating explosive conditions. Experts say the threat to canoeists in resorts bordering the wilderness is the greatest in history.
You're going to be looking at fires that are very difficult to suppress and contain.
The Forest Service has outlined a plan to reduce the threat, including deliberately burning thousands of acres to remove dead trees, banning campfires in blowdown areas, developing a better firefighting plan, removing downed trees near buildings, and a key element, speeding up evacuation.
We were terrified. We were just thankful we didn't get hit by a tree because there must have been 300 or more trees down.
Home video shot by Eric and Becky McMullen is a graphic example of how easily the Gunflint Trail can be blocked. The same thing could happen in a fire, trapping vacationers.
How do we provide for a safety situation for the public as well as for firefighters?
Safety without damaging the wilderness experience will be a challenge for the Forest Service for years to come. Dave Jench, News 6.
And the Forest Service is continuing to develop its new fire response plan and will be looking for public input as well. Life in a prisoner of war camp is something unimaginable to most Americans, but one Duluth man knows about it all too well. Russell Hendrickson spent nearly 4 years in Japanese POW camps during World War II.
You're semi-starved all the time, you know. Anytime you had any free time, you should want to sleep. That's the only way you live through it, I think.
We continue our special report, The Greatest Generation, coming up next.
The Iron Range will be well represented at the Minnesota State High School volleyball tournament in the Twin Cities. Tom has a preview later in sports, plus a tight squeeze today for this towering tree making its way through downtown Duluth.
Keeping you in touch with today's news with Michelle Lee, Mark Mallory, meteorologist George Kessler, Tom Hansen Sports, and special reports from Barbara Riles. You're watching News 6 at 10.
And this is your great-great-grandfather, The pizzas he made were the best because he used a special recipe that to this day is the secret to Sammy's home-cooked flavor. And guess who knows that secret? Me. And if you take a nap, I'll tell you what it is.
Sammy's Pizza and Restaurant. Come on over.
Jubilee and Another Look, a woman's consignment boutique. Mamma Mia's Pizza, alternatives, books, and botanicals. Beijing Restaurant, Ralph Flagg State Farm Insurance, Great Harvest Bread Company, Bumper to Bumper. Mr. Movies, Winslow's Hallmark. Jubilee Foods, Plaza Hairstyles. The Plaza Shopping Center, where you and everything you need intersect.
Most healthcare professionals provide quality care to individuals. But when hospital or healthcare professionals fail to meet the standards of their own medical profession, the results can be devastating. When a mistake is made and an innocent person becomes a victim, there must be accountability. That victim not only has rights to financial compensation, but also the right for professional legal assistance.
Know your rights. Call Sieben, Gross and Von Holtum at 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
The time is here. The number is 12. It's Slumberland's incredible 12-hour sale. This Saturday from 9 to 9 only. Get great savings on everything for every room in your home. Special selection and savings only Slumberland could bring you. Like a Sealy Posturepedic or Simmons Beauty Rest queen size set for just $277. And this great looking contemporary sofa is just $499. It's 12 fleeting hours this Saturday only from 9 to 9. So hurry to the incredible 12-hour sale only at Slumberland Furniture. Don't waste a minute.
Later on an all-new Tonight Show, from Friends supermodel Elle Macpherson, The Insider's Russell Crowe, and Jay's experiment with a Today Show style set goes terribly wrong. Then Conan's in L.A. with fitness tips from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, sort of. Plus Friends' Lisa Kudrow and a Hollywood desk drive, New Yorker style. Conan's in L.A. tonight.
You're in touch with News 6.
Members of the Northland's greatest generation went off to war to help preserve freedom.
In the process, many lost their lives while others endured years of torture.
A Duluth man survived to tell about his experience as a prisoner of war.
Well, there's what I used to look like.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
Duluth war vet Russ Hendrickson spent almost 4 years of his life as a prisoner of war. He was on Wake Island in the Pacific when the Japanese bombed it 16 days in a row. Hendrickson was a gunner fighting for his life.
You were too busy to be scared. Let me put it that way. Well, that was our job, you know. We were trained for it. But I wouldn't say it was the calmest I'd ever been in my life, though. Let me put it that way.
Did you think you were going to make it?
No, truthfully, no.
But Hendrickson did make it, although the Japanese took Wake Island and the 400 American men with them. For 45 months, Hendrickson did his best to survive in prison. There was physical and verbal abuse, but perhaps worst of all, Hendrickson battled starvation. He entered the service at 168 pounds. He came home weighing only 103.
You're semi-starved all the time, you know. Anytime you had any free time, you should went to sleep. That's the only way you live through it, I think.
Hendrickson's story is like so many during World War II. There's an unselfish duty they felt they owed to this country. Few rarely complained about their situations, too. NBC News anchorman Tom Brokaw.
Most of these people saw so much heroism around them. Everybody was involved in the effort, and therefore no one felt that they should speak out because they would feel as if they were in somehow demeaning the memories of their friends who had died. And those who got back were just relieved to be back.
And like many war vets, Hendrickson doesn't think other generations have as much passion for their country.
I don't think they think as much of America as we did. We loved our country, but nowadays I don't know.
I tell you, Russ is a tough guy. You know? Well, there's another battle Russ Hendrickson took on and won. He recently beat cancer. His doctor says all is well for the war vet.
That's great. And don't forget, tomorrow, as The Greatest Generation continues, Kim Kaiser has the story of a Duluth man who disappeared while on a secret air mission during World War II. And then tune in Saturday night for our special half-hour show on The Greatest Generation. That's at 6:30 right here on News 6. Our partners at the Spooner Advocate also got in touch with a veteran, Wayne Walker of Springbrook. He fought in the Vietnam War. In tomorrow's edition, Walker recalls an ambush on his unit and his squad leader's attempt to get Walker the Silver Star for heroism in helping the wounded. In tomorrow's Mesabi Daily News, Linda Tyson introduces us to some Iron Range veterans still answering the call to service. They're volunteer drivers who transport people to the Twin Cities for special medical care. And in tomorrow's Lake County News Chronicle, an update on the new ambulance hall project. County Ambulance and Rescue Services will finally be housed under one roof in Silver Bay. Construction is set to start in the spring. Yesterday's temperatures were perfectly normal for August, and today's temperatures were perfectly normal for November.
I guess that's fair, huh?
I guess.
When we come back, George will let us know if the cold is here to stay. Stay with us.
In the next 60 seconds, a multi-million-dollar Powerball jackpot could be yours. Hi, everybody. Mike Pace here with America's biggest jackpot game. The official Powerball drawing is on the air. $12 million grand prize tonight. Hope you have a ticket because it gives you a chance to win one of 9 ways when you play America's biggest jackpot game. And here we go. Good luck. 43. First ball, 43. There is number 40. Number 40. Check your tickets carefully. Next ball is 19. The Powerball, of course, still to come. Number 13. 13 followed by 31. Those are the white balls. $12 million on the line. Here it is. Tonight's Powerball number 36. And now a quick review. 43, 40, 19, 13, and 31. Those are the numbers. The Powerball is 36. Thanks for playing. Good night and good luck.
The good life just got a little closer. Now there's a whole new Sears store right in your neighborhood with new names and favorite names, guaranteed selection and guaranteed satisfaction. It's a whole new kind of Sears for your kind of life. Hurry into the grand reopening of Sears at Miller Hill Mall Duluth this Friday and Saturday and save up to 25% off store-wide. On Saturday, meet Nancy Wesley from Days of Our Lives, only at the new Sears in Miller Hill Mall Duluth this Friday and Saturday. Sears, the good life at a great price guaranteed.
What is country?
It's your love.
B105's like family watching over families.
It's feeling good about a job well done.
The B makes you feel good.
When someone's in need, B105 brings us all together.
It's having fun when your work's all done.
Baby, I'm amazed by you.
B105 understands what my life's all about.
Country is B105.
November 13th at 7 p.m. It's the most exciting fighting event in the Midwest. See some of the most powerful fighters in the country test their skill and courage in the steel cage.
LCO.
Meteorologist George Kessler holds the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Farm Duluth Casino.
Well, I guess you could just call it crazy. Up and down, isn't it?
It is. And it's the same, what we see is the same pattern that we've had for the last 9 weeks now, where it just starts off, gets a little cold behind the front, then it warms up, and then boom, another front. This is just a little more extreme.
And tomorrow we get to go up again, right?
Yep, we start the climb.
All right.
Yeah, well, at least, you know, you can depend on something. Even though the weather seems crazy, it's following just a regular pattern. High temperature today was 46. That was at midnight. Ever since then, temperatures have been falling. A low of 33, that happens to be the current, and normals of 38 and 24. So you can see that even though today felt miserably cold, we're above normal. Temperature right now at the airport still 33, Harbor 37, Superior 36, and Hibbing coming in at 35. Let's head out into the garden, see what conditions are like. You know, I got to tell you this, it's windy, and the wind is adding an extra element of misery to this particular concoction just because it takes wind chills and drives them down another 15 or 20 degrees. And we have had a little bit of lake effect snow because the wind is in the east and it's coming down the lake, and combination of the two leads to that old friend of ours. Take a look here at the conditions. 21 miles an hour. That's a sustained wind up on top of the hill. So communities like Hermantown and Proctor and, of course, up in Island Lake, you're certainly catching this kind of breeze. Pressure is really strong. And just as a little bit of comparison for you, barometric pressure is 30.33. Last year on this date, we set our all-time low barometric pressure. We had a huge storm coming through town. It was 28.47. I know it sounds like a lot of numbers, but trust me, that's low pressure. And today, look, it's a big old high. If it's not a balmy high, at least it's a high. Look at numbers around the region. Grand Marais leading the charge with the cool temperatures. 25 degrees up there, 28 in Ely, 33 in the ports. Talked about that. 32 over in Ironwood. As we head to our west, it's a complicated, long series of things. But a lot of times what happens, you get cold air out over the lake, it rushes south quickly. And so what you end up with, places off to the north and west are a little bit warmer than the lake shore. It's a reversal. Usually it's not like that. 37 in Bemidji, 34 in International Falls, the icebox of the nation. The ground isn't even frozen yet, if you can imagine that. Take a look, readings around the nation. I'll get out of the way, you can pick out your favorite town. Here they go. Watch those blues and purples. Oh man, look at that. There's just a little bubble for us. We're the only areas that are cool behind this front. The fronts lack the punch to drive all the way down through the United States. They get down to about southern Wisconsin and they get so much resistance from that area of high pressure, they just give up. They pack the bags, they head east. It's all they can do just to get off the shore and be done with it. And until the jet stream pattern changes, we're going to see this repeat and repeat and repeat. So what'll it take to change it? Well, we're starting to see some of that out to our west. There is storm after storm barreling into Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. Each one of these storms chips away at the high pressure down to our south. And once that high pressure area gets chipped away, then it will allow the jet to dip farther, and that'll get some Gulf of Mexico moisture. All of them will be working together. It's just going to take some time. So for those folks who have the brand new snowmobile in the garage, patience is the word. Not much to see. We had a few lake effect snow flurries earlier in northern Wisconsin. Those have since gone by the boards. And tomorrow, with the area of high pressure retreating off to the east, more fair weather, and it's going to warm up. This next front's going to be a dry one when it passes on through the region. So there's your forecast for the rest of tonight. Maybe a little snizzle near the lake. Since we have had it reported, we'll put it on there. Most everybody will be getting down to the 20s for lows, which is typical. In fact, we'll still be a little bit above normal. Then for tomorrow, not as windy, which means it won't be as biting. Highs hopping back into the 40s. And look at the 6-day forecast. Check this out. By Friday and Saturday, we're up over 50 degrees again, which will put us in record territory. Somebody stop this pattern. I want to get off. Mark and Michelle.
Okay, thank you, George. Well, still to come on News 6 at 10, a big announcement from the Peacock Network. NASCAR racing is coming to NBC.
And Vikings fans have their own Big Bang Theory, but we'll have the real story behind what went wrong with the pyrotechnics at Monday's Dome game. That and more coming up.
Look to Fond du Loup Casino for great gaming entertainment. Have a great time at Fond du Loup Casino. Cash in on the fun with blackjack, bingo, or slots. 2 lucky people will win a new 2000 Polaris 550 Indy Trail Touring Snowmobile. Qualify as many times as you can. Must be present to win. Hurry to Fond du Loup and get all the details. Open until 2 a.m. weeknights and 24 hours on weekends. 1 hour free parking and ramp with validation.
Have a great time out at Fond du Loup.
They fought at the Battle of Midway and the invasion of Normandy. They fought at Iwo Jima and Guadalcanal. Back home, they held rivet guns and rolled bandages, and they were all heroes. The Walmart associates touched by World War II are just some of the 16 million Americans who helped save our freedom. Sadly, there's no national monument to their sacrifice. Bring your donations to Walmart, and let's help build the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. There's no memorial yet, but together, we can change that.
So, what'd you get? Peanut butter and jelly? How about you? Bologna. What'd you get? Turkey.
With Cub's low prices, you can bring home a whole lot more. Cub. Save more, get more. This week at Cub, 100-ounce all-liquid detergent, $2.98 each, and Cheerios cereal, $1.88 each.
Skis, snowboards, outerwear. Unique sports require a unique shop. The Ski Hut. The Ski Hut is the only store in northern Minnesota to feature alpine and cross-country ski gear from K2, Solomon, Rossignol, Vocal, Peltonen, and more. Check out Totally Board, the Ski Hut's new area dedicated to snowboarding, featuring Burton, Solomon, K2, Black Dot, Betty, and more. The Ski Hut and Totally Board, your skiing and snowboarding headquarters on East 4th and Grand Avenue.
Ski Hut's got it. Ski Hut's got your gear.
Egerbrecht Chevrolet Oldsmobile wants to reintroduce you to a sport utility vehicle that will put the fun back in your driving. Bravada by Oldsmobile. With its sleek, colorful styling, the Smart Track on-demand all-wheel drive system, and Egerbrecht discounts of $4,000 and GM rebates of $2,500, you can't afford not to be driving a '99 Bravada. After a short time behind the wheel, you might think you're driving a luxury sedan. Bravada by Oldsmobile.
Only at Egerbrecht Chevrolet Oldsmobile, where you, the customer, are always number one.
And now, sports with Tom Hansen.
The UMD men's basketball team is off to Disney World tomorrow.
Ah, but it's not a vacation.
It'd be nice to go along.
Let's go.
No, some of the top 2 division teams in the country will be there in the Disney Tip-Off Classic. The UMD Bulldogs will be bumping into Goofy, Mickey Mouse, and Donald Duck this weekend at the Disney Tip-Off Classic, but their trip is all business for the Bulldogs. Head coach Gary Holquist now in his 2nd year, and the team has some high expectations.
We're going to try to move the ball a little quicker up and down the floor. You know, we still have the same premise that UMD has always had. We're going to try to get a good shot offensively, and we're going to play man-to-man defense, you know, on that end of the floor. But our man-to-man defense may move from a half-court situation to a full-court situation, and that good shot is going to come a little quicker. You know, that way I can use the depth that we've recruited over the year here.
We're definitely looking to come right out, and you know, what we want in the end is we want a championship, but. You know, we're going to take it one step at a time and win one game at a time and see where we get.
The UMD hockey team announced their recruits for next year. Adam Kuhl will be joined by 2 Iron Rangers, Josh Miskovich and Andy Sicchetti. Duluth gymnast Kara Waterhouse also signed a letter of intent today. She's headed to the University of Florida. Today the school watched as she made it official.
I'd just like to thank I'd like to thank everyone who's supported me, all my friends, and all my teammates, and Marshall for being flexible with my schedule and allowing me to practice the amount of time that I've practiced. So, thanks.
The Minnesota State Volleyball Tournament opens tomorrow in the Twin Cities. The Northland will be represented by 3 teams. Hibbing is one of them. The Blue Jackets finished 2nd at state last year. They take with them a record of 24-5 into their 16th state tournament appearance. Hibbing is the first of the 3 local teams in action. Mesabi East is 27-2 and playing in Class AA. Cook is playing at 3 in Class Single A. All matches will be held at Williams Arena. Vikings defensive end Dwayne Clemens says the NFL has fined him $7,500 for punching a Dallas player below the belt. Clemens said he made a mistake and went a little too far. Also making a mistake on Monday was a sound man in charge of fireworks. Laura Glassberg explains.
It was the blast that rocked the house.
George, whoa, there's fireworks go off.
With less than 14 minutes remaining and Minnesota trailing, Jeff George went for Chris Carter. But before Carter even caught the ball, the fireworks went off. Some thought that noise was the cannon, but it was actually an airburst, a firecracker device that was supposed to go off after the touchdown, not before it. The man who lit that fuse was too embarrassed to go on camera today, but he says he'd like to apologize to both the team and the fans, and he says he hopes his accident doesn't put an end to the pyrotechnics show at the Dome.
We were a little concerned about it.
Vikings marketing director Terry Hummel says the premature blast was a close call. It's the kind of thing that could cost an NFL team yards on a play and a fine.
One of the things that we can't do during a game is to do anything that would be considered insightful, both in terms of a video, replays, or music. So we have to be very careful with our selection.
The NFL prohibits music from being played after the huddle breaks. Mascots and cheerleaders aren't allowed on the field during play, and if the decibel level's too loud on the field, the other team can ask for it to be turned down. All rules the marketing department has to abide by, and you can bet the folks who make the sparks fly off the field will also be on their best behavior in the games to come.
And some big news to pass along tonight in NASCAR racing. The Associated Press says NBC won the bidding rights for the TV rights to NASCAR. An official expected tomorrow, is tomorrow. Deal begins in the year 2001. NBC will also carry this Sunday's NASCAR race in Florida. It's coming down to the end. It's always a tight finish, and the championship could be decided.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Next.
That's different.
Happens every day. The Minnesota State Lottery. Don't forget to have some fun.
They're back. The Ford Rangers are back at the Ford store at Miller Hill Mall. Our last shipment sold out in record time. Our volume sales mean we get volume allocations. Today, we just received 30 2000 Northland Edition Ranger Super Cab 4x4s. All XLTs. All with air, automatic, CD player, cruise control, and V6. All 30 at one price. Just $259 down, $259 a month. For only 36 short months. Hurry. They will sell out fast. Get to the new Ford store at Miller Hill Mall now.
What does it mean to bring power to a community?
It's making sure that no one is left out in the cold.
By turning people on to education.
It means having the resources to meet the critical needs of our patients.
Investing in kids, giving us a chance.
Sharing a passion for the arts.
It means making sure every kid gets a fair shot.
Minnesota Power, contributing to communities because power is more than light.
Academy Award winner Susan Sarandon. You have a really great body.
It's special effects.
And Star Wars, Natalie Portman. Is it true you were discovered in
a pizza parlor?
Together, full of surprises. We thought it might be nice to hear what kind of a mom you really are. Their new movie strikes a chord with mothers and daughters everywhere.
Everybody keeps saying, that's exactly my mother.
Susan Sarandon, Natalie Portman, next Oprah.
Tomorrow at 3 on News 6.
Stay in touch with the latest news, sports, and weather with the News 6 Information Guide by calling 727-2131. Brought to you by News 6 and U.S. West Dex, your directory expert.
The holiday season is fast approaching, but some holiday preparations took a while to complete today.
Like getting the city's Christmas tree in place. A Minnesota Power crew carefully maneuvered the tree from up in the Woodland neighborhood to the downtown to the corner of Lake Avenue and Superior Street. There were some tense moments during the tree's trip. It was a tight squeeze to get under this skywalk. The tree will be decorated in the coming days and lit up Friday, November 19th. We'll see it tomorrow.
Good night.
Men's clothing provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men in the heart of downtown Duluth. Closed captioning provided by Schneiderman's.
Are you ready for winter's worst? Get your snowblower ready for winter with one simple phone call to Roy Halverson Service Center. Halverson's has over 30 years of experience servicing nearly all brands of snowblowers. And we'll pick up and deliver right to your door.
Hi, I'd like to have my snowblower picked up for service, please.
Call Roy Halverson Service Center to get your snowblower tuned up today.
Are you going to do anything today?
Just to have the snowblower fixed.
Oh.
You've been calling for it, and now we've got it. Introducing Hardee's new pork chop sandwich, a whole boneless pork chop lightly breaded so it's tender and juicy. Come and get it at Hardee's, where the food's the star.
Anderson Furniture is proud to announce the grand opening of our Lazy Boy Home Center. During this special event, we're giving away a free gift with the purchase of any Lazy Boy product. This grand opening combines two names you've learned to trust over the years, Lazy Boy and Anderson Furniture. During this grand opening sale, you can take advantage of terrific prices on Lazy Boy sofas, sleepers, and reclining sofas, plus sale prices on all 5 floors. Don't miss the grand opening of Anderson Furniture's Lazy Boy Home Center, now in progress.
You're watching NBC, America's late night leader.
From the NBC studios in Burbank, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Featuring Kevin Eubanks and The Tonight